One of the confusions around diversity efforts is that a lot of people think that the intention is to give certain groups unfair advantages. And to some extent, I would have to agree with the criticism that the way that a lot of people on the left have described these things, it hasn't been using words that I think really communicate clearly what the intention of most of these efforts are. The point of diversity efforts is actually to create a level playing field where people are competing equally. But the rhetoric has confused the issue quite a bit. Now, the old school way of doing some kind of effort to ameliorate these things is to have racial quotas, for example, and that has been generally frowned upon for decades, and it's even been flatly made illegal in a lot of cases by the Supreme Court. And a lot of people feel offended, let's say, in the majority group because they think, I'm not racist. I don't believe that blacks are always inferior to whites. At least they think consciously these thoughts. And they don't want to think of themselves as people who are racist, right? And they get very defensive about it. And honestly, I have to say that the way that the rhetoric has been framed often just triggers that type of reaction. And I'm not saying that, we should follow respectability politics and just try to avoid offending people. But at the same time, if you're communicating in a way where people just don't even understand what you're saying, then I think that's bad communication, honestly. The real problem the United States has today is not so much around overt discrimination, although that's still an issue. It's more around subconscious bias. So a great example of that are these blind resume studies. Particular approach that you can do to study this is to say you send in the exact same resume, same educational background, same experience, everything's identical. The only difference is the name. And so like one name might be John Smith or something. The other might be, Shaquille, whatever, right? Like some kind of African American sounding name. And then you will find a massive difference in the amount of time people get called back when they send in a resume with a black sounding name versus a white sounding name. It's a huge difference. And this is probably not due to overt racism. It's due to subconscious associations. So when you have a diversity effort, it should be to make the playing field more equal. But most people don't seem to really understand this or realize that that's the point of it.